This is Steve Harris from Iron Maiden and British Lion. You're listening to Andrew McCaskey from Scars and Guitars.
G'day everybody, welcome to the show. Well, proving that lightning strikes twice. It's been a heck of a year this year. I bring you a conversation with Sarah Jezebel Deva. Now, I say what I said because I wouldn't have thought that two conversations was possible with the great Steve Harris, and now here I am announcing another chat with Sarah. Now, throughout this conversation, we discuss her return to the big stage, the triumphant return, it must be said, with Covenant. They've just played a gig at Eindhoven, and a few more are on the horizon, but things are kicking back off again for the group. She also covers the development of her philosophies since her Cradle of Filth days, and she has a bit more to add that maybe wasn't covered in the first conversation, the one that was posted in October 2023. She discusses strategies for managing her music career alongside family commitments. She answers my question on how she sees her legacy in extreme music, and we also talk about what the future might hold. Now, before we get to the chat, I must mention that there were some gremlins in the internet connection. I've done some editing, as much editing as I feel is appropriate, so there is still some glitching throughout the chat, but it does not detract from what is indeed a high-quality conversation with the one, the only, the incomparable Sarah Jezebel Deva. First thing I want to do is congratulate you on what you've done with Covenant, okay? Because you know I'm close to Jamie. He's a good mate of mine. And I know how much work he put into it, but that's the first question I want to ask you is how much preparation and the mental side of it to psych yourself up for getting back onto those huge stages again?
Obviously, me and Jamie are in totally different countries, and the rest of Covenant are in Norway, and so they're able to rehearse together. So for me, I was rehearsing on the way to work every day, on the way home from work every day, when I was doing mummy things every day, just non-stop rehearsals. You know, I mean, I know Nexus Polaris inside out. It's the other stuff that I don't know, or I didn't know that well. But the Nexus Polaris stuff, it was like a duck to water. But obviously, when you're playing in the rehearsal studio and you're doing everything for real, you know, it is a little bit different. But I knew everything, and I was quite lucky, obviously. I'd never forgotten any of my lines, albeit there's only 4, but I'd never forgotten anything. And psyching myself up, it's incredible, because I can't remember what I said in the last interview and what I've said in the past, but I had no intention of returning, doing shows again. I mean, obviously I've done a few Hecate and Throne shows before, and I love that, but I had no real intention of doing anything live again. My son comes first, and most of the people out there are, you know, the older generation. They've got children, so they know your family comes first. And I was very afraid of flying and being away from him and how he would deal with everything. So there was a lot of anxiety. I had many conversations with the guys. You know, Steiner, you know, he works with aeroplanes, you know, not in the bath or anything. He doesn't play like, you know, little aeroplanes in the bath. He's very, very, you know, he's got quite a talent, that man. And we had lots of conversations about safety and this and that. And I'd spoke to Stian, I'd spoke to Jan, Håkon, the booking agent, you know. And when this all started, when all these conversations were happening, because I'd been messaging the guys years ago saying, oh, wouldn't it be cool, you know, we did another album. And you open your mouth and you think, that's really, really cool. I'm glad I said that. And then 10 minutes later, you're thinking, oh, I hope no one was listening to me, because I don't know if I want to do this again. So it was all kind of the fantasy thing. I really, really wanted to do it. And then when it started happening, I shit myself. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And then, you know, speaking to Hocken was like, well, you know, you're you have a life too. You're not just mum, you know, you're Sarah. You deserve a life. So I've got to turn stereo off. I decided to put Mayhem on, and as much as I love them, it's not going to go very well in an interview. So yeah, just all these conversations of people going, you know, you should do it, you need to do it, blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then the first show comes through, and I think I was probably one of the last people to hit the like button, because I don't know if you've heard voice how many WhatsApp groups the Covenant have. Stian has created, I think we're on 28 WhatsApp groups now for Covenant, you know, so it constantly goes off. But I think I was one of the last people to hit the like button on Eindhoven Metal Meeting because I got scared. And at one point I thought, oh, can I back out? What can I do? Get pregnant? Fake my own death? Just don't know. And then I went over for rehearsals, and I was really worried about that. You have to bear in mind, none of us have seen each other for so long. The last show we did, well, obviously the last show with Jamie was 20 odd years ago. So he hasn't been in Covenant for a very long time. And the last time I saw some of the other guys was when we did Inferno in Norway. And I said to Stian, you know, that it was quite disappointing. I said, I had this vision that we would all hang out together and give each other hugs. It's a woman thing, I think. Go out for dinner, talk about things, clear the air. When I say clear the air, you know, obviously we'll talk about that later, but nothing major to clear. But, you know, the elephant in the room, as it were. And it didn't happen. I barely saw Stian. I barely saw Jan. Obviously, Jamie wasn't there. I don't even remember Steiner. I don't remember him being there, but he was. I don't even remember him being on the Covenant tour in 1997. He was so quiet. And it was quite disappointing. And we did what I thought was a pretty cool show at Inferno. And I thought that may be the start of something, but it never happened. It never transpired. And I think everyone went their separate ways, you know. So I was, towards the end, after rehearsals in Norway, I was gagging for it. I mean that in the nicest way. I was well up for it after rehearsals. They went so well. And it was almost like, it's everything that it should have been from day one. But we were kids then, you know. Obviously, you know, Steiner and Jan are older than us, you know, by about 6 or 7 years or whatever. But it's everything that it should have been from day one. And if we would have had this connection back then, Covenant could have taken on the world. Really, really could have. But I guess the time wasn't right, you know. We were kids. We were living in Disneyland, you know, in our head. There was so much going on, so many young personalities clashing. And now the time really is right, you know. And I went to the airport and I wasn't really nervous about flying. And I couldn't wait. For me to feel like that, bam. And I don't know why. I guess the timing's right, you know? So you don't psych yourself up, I think. I think anxiety and excitement and all those emotions, they take over and you don't want them there, but they're there. And it just turned into such a positive after the first band rehearsal, you know, in August. And it just all flowed naturally. And then when we got to Eindhoven, it was just like, wow, are we really doing this again? It's perfect. it feels so good. It feels so right, you know? So I guess I hope that answers the question, because it's the most honest I can be. And I think I'm pretty damn sure, I'm 99%, we are all on the same page. You know, we are all on the same page. You know, I've had phone calls with most of the guys, or face-to-face conversations, and everyone feels exactly the same about what we're doing now. It is right, and it is, it's amazing. Honoured.
I haven't spoken to Jamie yet, but I can only imagine how he's feeling after that first gig is done. But you guys were standing, I think it's stage right is the right term. You're standing next to each other. He strikes that last chord of the final song and he looks around at you. What are you guys talking about?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, well, I'm just saying.
I don't remember that
imagine,
at all. I don't even remember.
Sorry, I'm going by what I imagine
No, I don't think
happened.
anything.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you just what?
Yeah, no, I don't think anything.
Yeah.
I know that I walked off stage, obviously because I'm not on the last song, and I was called back because I will hide in the shadows. I will do anything not to be on that stage. In fact, I was like, just stick me out back with a microphone. I'll happily sing from the toilet. And they were trying to, you know, get me on stage more and more and more. And Steon's like, oh, you should be at the front. And I'm like, no, I should not. I am not going near the front. And I know that, like, you know, they called me back to go on stage for the photo and everything. And but I guess everyone was just on a high. And, you know, I first show, with the amount of rehearsals there were, full band rehearsals, you know, and that's not in such a different way. You know, Yarn is so busy with mayhem.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got things going on, their normal jobs, their family. You know, we pulled that show off, and I don't know how. And well, I do, because we're friends. You know, we're friends now. You know, it's not just business. And then we have crew, and we're so lucky and honoured to have crew. You know, we have Ocken, our booking agent, who is also TM, who is one of the most phenomenal human beings on the planet to do what he's done for us. And as you know, he's got quite a huge resume of bands. Oh my God, we're part of that. That's amazing. And he's so professional. He takes no shit. And then we have Steon, who is, I think he's Hellhammer's old drum tech. I'm not too sure. I don't want to get it wrong, but amazing guy, amazing. And Espen, you know, doing our sound, you know, they're so professional. And we are so, so lucky to have the crew that we've got. This is our first show, and we've got crew, you know, extremely talented, experienced crew. So yeah.
Yeah.
Did I answer the question? I was just looking at two cats fighting in the bushes, and there's also a squirrel. And if there's any animals anywhere, it gets my attention. And I think maybe I could just run downstairs and play with them. But no.
Cats, yeah. God, I've got two of them here. Don't worry. They fight. They literally fight like cats, as they say. It's the saying is.
And squirrels.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fantastic. And the fact that you're all back on stage together is a sight to behold for us old fans from back in those days, the 90s I'm talking about. But it does allude to something else, which is the future. So has there been any discussion about what the future may hold for the group?
Oh, yeah, loads. I can't say too much because, okay, we're equal. We've had this conversation about we're all equal. This is what I'm saying, how things have changed. You know, it's just very, very different because we're adults now. There will be a new album. And I want to point out, and I've said this to the guys so many times, I am happy for as long as this lasts. You know, for me, it might last 1 month. It might last 6 months. It might last 2 years, 4 years, whatever. I've always said, if you want to replace me, if you find somebody better, please do. You know, it's fine. It's fine. But they're like, no, not going to happen, not going to happen. And I'm touched by that. But you never know what's down the road. You know, you never know what's around the corner. But the plan is, with this lineup, and as you know, we have Knut, who is phenomenal, and he is such a sweetheart and so easygoing and happy and always smiling. You know, we've got a very, very talented lineup. In fact, I'm the least talented. That's how I see it. So that's why I've given them the go ahead, and I say, you know, you do what's right for you guys. You know, don't think about me. Do what's right for you. But the plan is world domination and an album. So we've got lots of shows booked, which is incredible as well, that there seems to be a demand for the Covenant, and it's quite an amazing demand. I mean, it is phenomenal. It's shows and locations, you know, certain continents that we will be going to. And yeah, an album. So the only thing I can say is that I can say sincerely, and I'm adamant in saying, this is permanent.
Fantastic.
But we all know things change, so, but there are plans, yeah. And it will be this lineup.
Fantastic. Okay, so just on that point, from our last conversation, you went into great detail and gave the listeners plenty of insight about the trials and tribulations and also the successes that you experienced when you were in Cradle of Filth. But this is around 15, you left the band in what, 2014, 13, earlier maybe? The point is, it's...
No, 2008. 2008, but obviously we did that, me and Danny did that orchestral album, didn't we? So...
Yeah, that's it, yeah. But so that's the point. So that's over 15 years ago, okay? Now, being a part, being a part of a band, like a significant band, something that's important where you're on stage and you actually are integral to the success of the band, by the way, moving forward, because, dare I say it, you are a brand these days. And I know metal fans don't like to think in those terms, but there is something about brand Sarah Jezebel Deva having you on stage that brings people into the audience. That's a fact of the matter. So if you're not there, less people turn up. So, yeah, but I mean, my point in amongst all of that, around all of that is that, and you may have already answered this question in your own way, but I have to ask the question, what is the most significant thing that you feel has changed in all of these years that makes you feel more comfortable in your own skin to just be the best version of you?
We're friends. There's so much honesty in this band. It's incredible. Again, a woman will speak in a totally different way to a man, okay? And I'm sure that I'm going to bore them to death with, I love you, you're amazing, I'm so glad we're doing this, you know, but they feel it. So they might not say it, but they feel it, you know? What's changed is that there is respect, and everything from day one has been laid on the table. Everything. And that's why we have 28 WhatsApp groups for Covenant, because Dion has thought of everything, nearly everything. And they've had meetings and they've had conversations that I've not been part of, you know, but that doesn't bother me because they're doing it right. And the one thing I have heard from absolutely everybody is we are all equal. And that's what makes a band work. That's what makes a band work. And everybody knows me, that I won't beat around the bush. I will say exactly how it needs to be said. And I might not always be right, you know, and I totally accept that, you know. I'm wrong on a lot of occasions, but I will say exactly how it is. And if I'm not happy with something, I'll just go to one of them and go, I don't think this is cool. And I'm confident in the fact that that will be listened to just like anybody else, and there'll be no arguments and no tantrums and no blow-ups. We just talk to each other. We're adults, we're friends, and that's what it's about. There's no secrets, and we're all equal, and that's why this works. I won't say anything about any other bands, but it's never been like this, you know. Never.
How much of
I've
a
got an
say?
itchy nose. You know, not cocaine.
How much of a say did you have in the set list? So, for example, Nexus Polaris, you're integral to that album, like you were with Cruelty, by the way. And in Times Before the Light, I know you weren't on that album, but that's an album that you could slot into. Was the bigger challenge? Oh, here you go. Look at that. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sitting on his throne. Well, who's it, he or a her?
Gretel,
so it's a she.
Her brother Hansel is on the bed, probably chucking up a furball somewhere.
They do that, don't they? They're shockers. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, go on.
But
so
look,
the set list, no say.
Well, animatronic, that's the challenging
but
album.
I mean that nicely.
Well, animatronic's the Marilyn Manson album.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know, right. So when I say I had no say, I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm not. All right, my job is hard because I have to. I open my mouth and I pray that the notes come out. Some smoke goes in it. Oh, that's it. It sets you off. You pray for pitching. You pray that you've got enough air in your lungs. But my job isn't like their job. So I wouldn't want really much of a say in the set list. I'm cool with whatever it's going to be, as long as I'm not standing on stage for 5 songs doing nothing. I mean, one of the conversations that we did have, we all kind of roughly discussed it, but mostly me and Stian, and that was that we want to do. He wants me to do more singing, and we will be singing more together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and he said he doesn't want me just standing there waiting for the next part, and that's so good for me to hear. That's so nice that someone's considering me. But that is the plan. But when it comes to animatronic, actually, it's too low for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my voice has changed a lot. In some aspects, it's more powerful than it ever has been, but also it has a tendency to get quite weak sometimes. You know, when people are talking to you and you're in a loud venue, it just wrecks my voice. So I have to be very, very careful. But animatronic actually is quite low for me, and I struggle a little tiny bit. Sorry, the postman's here. Hopefully he's got me loads of money. No,
Amazon
probably
stuff.
a rubbish Christmas card. Anyway, yeah, animatronic's quite low for me. Nexus Polaris is my challenging, shining album. Don't get me wrong. I love the songs that were Polaris. So on one of the songs on Nexus Polaris, I think it's Chariots of Thunder. I do additional vocals. Steiner or Stian found the original version, and I had a lot more vocals on that last song. So I decided to do them live. So a lot of people might be thinking, oh, why is she singing here? Because that's not what she does on the album. That's what I did do. And we all love what I did. And just sadly, for some reason, nobody knows why it didn't make the album. And then there's another song, I think, In the Name of the Future. There's some keys there. So I'm not just singing a few lines. I'm singing with the keys as well to emphasize the keys.
Yes.
but it is quite low vocally for me and not overly comfortable for me. I'm better the Nexus Polaris range, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, look,
I'm happy with whatever they want to chuck at the set list. You know, it's they're doing the hard jobs. I mean, you look at what Jan is doing.
yeah,
I mean, wow. You know,
yeah.
the man is an absolute legend and a machine. You look at Steiner, his keyboards, the way that he plays his keyboards half the time like a bloody guitar. He's amazing. They're all amazing. Their job's harder than mine and they're playing for longer than me. So whatever will be, will be. I'm cool with it. No ego. Don't whatever. It is
Yeah,
what it is.
I get it. Look, I think certainly, and I've expressed as much to Jamie, but look, Animatronic and the one afterwards, SETI, the whole band name changed even. It went from a Covenant to The Covenant, and I know there was a technical reason why that happened, but it also, whether it coincided or otherwise, it was certainly a very different band after that. But surely the emphasis would be on the black metal sounding material and not the goth industrial stuff.
I don't know. Fans like what they like, you know. I think the spacing, you know, the time, the years in between, In Times Before the Light and Nexus, they're both very, very different albums. The time in the years in between Nexus and Animatronic, very, very different albums, you know. You gain fans in different areas. There's fans out there that think that Nexus Polaris is the biggest pile of crap they've ever heard. We totally agree, of course. Sorry, totally disagree. Totally disagree. You know, oh God, I don't know what I said that. We totally disagree with that. We think, well, actually, I shouldn't say what we think. I think it's one of the best albums. I think it is the best album. But then I'm a fan of In Times Before the Light. I love that album.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their opinions, you know. I'm not the biggest fan of Animatronic. But then there's some really cool stuff on there. Really cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what this new album's going to turn out to be like. I believe that the general consensus is they want it to be a mix of stuff, but why set any sort of standards right now? Why have boundaries right now? Just let it take its course, you know? It is what it's going to be.
Well, look, if I imagine if Jamie's got anything to do with it, and I know he'll have a very heavy hand in the writing, I mean, you've heard obviously the latest. Has he shared with you the latest Lord Chaos stuff that he's written? Well, you were on it. I should say he shared that with me. You're on it. So
I'm on Lord Chaos, yeah.
So
yeah.
You've heard his riffing is just
they're all,
yeah.
They're all extremely talented guys. You know, I can't. I'm not going to comment. I've offered to help out, you know, because I can write, but then again, too many fingers in one pie kind of thing, you know. It is what it is. I know that I've said a few things that I would like, and Jan said how he wanted some of my vocals to be, and I totally agree with him. You know, not always the operatic stuff, you know. I'd like to say I can guarantee that with the talent, this is me excluded, the talent that is in that band, the album that is going to be created will be amazing. But people will always have their favourites and they will always compare. And it won't be Nexus Polaris and it won't be Animatronic and it won't be In Times Before the Light. It will be something completely different, you know. But again, I can't comment. I've heard a lot of the new stuff that's being produced between the guys, riff-wise. And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, but it's all got to come together and everyone has to add their element, you know.
Has given this environment, it's so promising, it's a flourishing environment, and the word I'm going to use is you now have a level of comfort, the fact that you are accepted. Have you had an opportunity to look back on some of those Cradle days and maybe reassess them through the lens that you've got right now?
Oh, yeah. This is everything that one little threat about speaking. It is everything that it wasn't. And that makes me sad, because I always loved Dan. I always saw him. As you know, I've already said what I've said from the other one, but the other interview, but I always loved Dan. You know, I looked up to Dan. He was like my brother. And sometimes, you know, he'd turn around and call me his sister, and we got on well. But we got on well as long as I didn't expect too much.
Yeah,
you
so it's
know?
one-sided, yeah.
And you have to remember, I started Cradle. I met them when I was 16, and that's when it started. And I had this vision that, again, we would all be family and work together. And I had this dream. I just wanted to sing. I didn't want the fame. I just wanted to sing. And I had this vision. We'd be this one big happy family, and we'd be writing music together, and not aimed at Danny. The money gets involved, the ego gets involved. Everyone wants a piece of the pie, and it gets complicated, and it gets nasty, and it gets demanding, and then people start being two-faced and bullying each other. You know, and I'm sad when I look at that. You know, I look back on the things that happened. I'm also sad that, and I still mean this, that he gets the blame for absolutely everything. And he's not perfect. None of us are perfect. And I think people need to remember that. But he gets the blame for absolutely everything. I don't think that's right. I still have views that I've not shared. I think I've done quite well, actually, in not being 100% open. But everyone wants to blame one person for the consistent lineups and all the crap. And it's, you know, there's lots of personalities involved, and ego is one of the biggest things. And then money. And once money takes over, that is it. This is the whole nymphetamine thing. You know, I still have people coming to me going, oh, I didn't know that you did nymphetamine. And do you know what I will say? I did the original nymphetamine. And, you know, I don't know if my vocals were the template for the next version of nymphetamine, which I am assuming they probably were. You know, because mine goes, da, 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 da. Yeah, okay, quite basic, but it was quite powerful. And then the other one's, da, 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 da. So, you know, I got no credit for that. And when I got dumped on that, you know, I was told it's not commercial enough. But that didn't come from Dan, and I know how that happened to me, because I know he did care, and that's why my version got released. So, on one hand, I can say that there was some shitty treatment, disgusting treatment, but on the other side, I can also say I don't think decisions that were made on his part were decisions he was comfortable with. And I wish that other people in the band in certain periods had some empathy at that point. But a lot of people in that band were bloody nasty. They were nasty. They were horrible. And they will never own up to that. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's different. Everything that is going on now is everything that a band should be. Everything that a band should be.
Yeah,
Does
fair
that
enough.
answer the question?
I think so. I mean, you can imagine I get hit up every week about things that you talked about that we in our last interview, and people are just so intrigued by your tenure in the band, and you've seen that given the amount of people, and we joked before the interview started, but as far as the show goes, there's you, Stuart, and Nick, Steve Harris, and I think Trey from Morbid Angel's mother. You're my big five. You're my big five. So, I mean, the point around that is people are very interested.
I'm so honoured.
Well, people want to hear from you, and I think the other thing is
honoured. I just.
You go. You're right. You go.
Sorry, there's a delay, isn't there? Yeah.
Slight delay. It's just
can I just say thank you? No, but I just want to say thank you because I looked at the video the other day and I thought, my God, over 12,000 people watched that. I had Zoe from Cradle of Filth. Also, I'm in contact with her.
Okay.
And she's a lovely girl.
Yeah.
And she sent me a WhatsApp message and she said it made her cry. I'm pretty damn sure that's what she said. I'll soon know if that's not. I'm pretty damn sure that she found it no, maybe not quite. She found it upsetting.
Mm.
And I had a lot of, and I just thought, oh, bless you. It was just really, that was not my intention. My intention is to tell as much of the truth as I can without being slapped with a court case. Mm. And as you know, you can never tell 100% of the truth.
Well, not Cradle.
You can't.
No.
Well, yeah, but it's not even just Cradle, is it? There's a lot of bands out there that have a very dark, shady history, but no one will admit it. No one will speak up. And without being too personal, because I will do something on my Instagram, I spent my whole life dealing with abuse. Okay. So this is not, oh, here we go.
Mm.
She's going to try and make us feel sorry for her. I spent my whole life dealing with abuse. My abuse started as young as a rough guess, because my first memory of abuse was when I could walk to the shop, and I was walking to the shop at the age of 4 years old. So, there was a certain incident that's where I remember it all starting. And so I spent my whole life dealing with it. Okay. So one thing I won't put up with now is abuse.
Yeah.
And if I have something to say, I will say it. I spent most of my life not speaking up, most of my life. So if people don't like, or certain people don't like what I'm saying, they shouldn't have acted like a CUNT to begin with. Mm. But, the other thing with Covenant is there's no sexism, and I feel safe with them, and I feel looked after, and it's nice, I'll always say it how it is, and people don't like that. People don't like that I'm, I wouldn't say people, so my heart on my sleeve. I've got so many things deep inside me that I've never shared with anybody. Maybe one day I'll write a book.
Write the book.
But it'll be bloody long, I tell you that.
but just on that point that you won't take any shit anymore. Is that parenthood that's brought that out in you?
Yeah, maybe, maybe I want my son to grow up knowing he can be anything. He can be anyone, that nothing can hold him back. He does martial arts, and there's a reason behind that: confidence, fitness, agility, but defending himself. And it's something I never did. I tried to defend myself, and whenever I did defend myself, I got put down for that. I want him to know, and I've tried to install this in him, he should never be afraid to cry and never be afraid to speak up. No matter if he's come home one day and he's shit his pants and he's smeared it all over the microwave and then cooked his dad's dinner in it, tell me. Of course, I'll allow his dad to eat it, but just be honest. There is nothing to ever be afraid of. The moment you stop talking, that's when things go wrong. So maybe raising him has made me wake up that bit more. But then I haven't been dealing with music as much as other people have. You know, I've been quite distant, haven't I? Years ago, I used to care a lot more about what people thought of me. Oh, does my ass look big in this? I'd be afraid of walking into the catering, which I think I said on the last interview. Now, well, actually, I don't know if you saw something that I put out on Instagram the other day. I always get these people going, when you walk into a room, you just light it up. And I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
I do. And I do have a bit of a big mouth. I know. When I say big mouth, I don't sit there myself go, I'm just me. And if that makes me a big mouth, then hey ho, bring it on. But people tell me I light up a room. But I don't just want to light up that room anymore. I want to set the fucking place on fire. I want people to remember me, but not for anything other than I was approachable, I was nice, and I tried my best. You know, I don't give a shit about looking perfect. As you can see, puffed up face, mum face. You know, I don't give a shit about that. I'm not a model, never going to be. I don't give a toss about the Photoshop, you know, because it's not real. I'm me. You're going to see me with shit in my eyes, dribble down my face, I'm sure, at some point, but that's me. I want to be known for being real and just making people laugh. I love making people laugh. I absolutely love making people laugh because there's not enough laughter in the world. But yeah, so that's how it is.
Since we last caught up as well, I caught up very briefly with Harvard, aka Mortis. So are you still working with him, and have you got plans to continue working with him?
No, but he's doing well. I know that he's going on tour with Mayhem next year. So that's really cool. I think it's about time, you know, that people really started to take that man seriously. You know, I mean, they are taking him seriously, but more serious than ever. And I think, you know, there's a lot to also be said for ego on that side. You know, it's not cool to have a certain band on tour with us because they're too small and we're really big. I like it when people take chances. They need to take chances. Otherwise, these smaller acts are never going to get anywhere. And he's got such a legendary name.
Yeah.
Okay, his music's completely different to yours, but that's what makes a really cool show as well. You know, put Kylie Minogue with Mysticum. That would be awesome. Probably not too much for the fans, but you know what I mean.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Have you had a chance to catch up with any of the former members of Cradle of Filth since we last spoke, even just in interaction over Messenger or what have you?
Well, obviously, I speak to Dave Pybus, Martin Powell, and Charles Hedger. They're the three main ones. Oh my God, I can't think if there's anyone else. I've spoke to Ben Ryan.
Nice.
A few times. William. Just the odd things, but mostly I'm in contact with Dave, Martin, and Charles. Charles being the one all the time because we send him loads of stupid stuff on Instagram all the time. Like really, really immature stuff because I find it absolutely hilarious. Bad stuff, actually, quite bad stuff.
And you
not
share it.
Not politically correct.
Oh, that's good. Don't worry about that. We need more political incorrectness especially these days. Yeah. Yeah, that's in. And you share a drummer as well. That's the other thing.
Oh yeah, of course. Not sexually though, because that would be weird.
Well, what's Jamie's? What he did give me was deep insight into your relationship and how important it was. So How have things changed? And nothing weird either. He just says you guys are really close mates, and the instances that forged that bond that you both enjoy to this day. But has that relationship, or how has that dynamic changed?
We haven't seen each other for such a long time, and obviously I started helping Jamie because I offered to help Jamie. I said, Jamie, if you need anything, I was glad that he was alive, of course. The last time I saw Jamie actually, one of my biggest memories of Jamie was at the end of the Rape and Ruin of Europe, the 6 dates that it was Cradle of Filth, Dissection, Dimmu, and In Flames. And I always remember saying goodbye to Jamie, and I was crying my eyes out, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be shit. And all that crap, the girly things, the tour attachment and all of that. And then obviously the next memory I have of Jamie is us parting ways in Norway after we did the Covenant tour, Children of Bodom. And I don't remember anything else from Jamie. I remember being drunk with him a few times and all of that. So, but I'd always cared about Jamie. And I don't know where he went. And I was hearing all these rumours that he was dead and all of that. And so when we finally got in contact, it was really, really nice. We had quite a few phone calls and talking about the past and this and that. And then obviously I started helping him out with Lord Chaos. And I'd just say that it's just normal. We hug each other, we talk, we all hug each other, actually, I'm not saying it's a very huggy band. What I'm saying is there's just a lot more respect. And I know that if I was feeling anything, I can talk to him, and I know he knows that if he has any issues, he can talk to me. The friendship is probably better this time around. And again, I think this all comes down to age. It really, really does. We're all in this for the same thing. Same reason.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't work a lot now. I love that man. I never thought I'd say, and he knows this because I've said it to him, never thought I'd say, I fucking love you. You're amazing. I met Steiner's wife, and she's amazing. She's an Australian. She's amazing. And they welcome me into their home, and they're humble and polite and kind. And it's just, go back 25 years ago, that probably wouldn't have happened. It would probably be, oh, there's a bin over there. Oh, you might get some water from the drain. not from them, but you know what I mean? Just it's all different. So all around, the relationships are better, the communication is better, and we're laughing, and we're laughing hard. So,
What about Stian's the band leader, isn't he? So what about Stian? How's the dynamic shifted there?
Well, I'd like to say, I wouldn't say he's the band leader. Obviously, he formed the band. And I don't mean that, obviously, in a band way when I say he's the band leader, because I have to emphasize that it's so equal. But yeah, if you want to go back to the roots, he started the band. He started the band. He's just so easygoing. He's so easygoing. He's so much fun. A good time with him when we were in Holland. In fact, I was so delirious when it, with the emotions and the fun and everything that was going on. I spent 2 days thinking that we were in Amsterdam. And it wasn't until our sound guy said, well, actually, Sarah, you do know you're in Eindhoven. I'm like, really? So I didn't go out with Stian last night in Amsterdam to get chips. No, you're in Eindhoven. I'm like, it's just had so much fun. And we've never had fun like that. He makes me laugh so much. Oh my God, he makes me laugh. And we just did not stop laughing. He's brilliant to be around. And again, I go back to, we're older now. We're not kids anymore.
Mm.
We've got one aim, you know, and our families are important as well. So, you know, we're all in it for the same reason.
But have you had a lot of opportunity for fan interactions and being able to get that type of feedback from them?
Not so much, but obviously we're all most of us are all very active on social media because it's what you have to do. And do you know what? I think any fans that we have, they deserve that interaction. Jamie is very verbal. Steon and myself, we're very verbal, and we speak to people and we communicate with them. And do you know what? I think that's a lot of things bands don't do. Whilst I get that we're not the biggest band in the world, you want your fans to know that you give a shit about them. And it could just be one line. And we do that. You know, some of them aren't on social media because, let's face it, social media isn't really all that fantastic. There's some disgusting stuff out there. It is a cesspit for bullying and all, you know, but some of us, we really do try our hardest to interact with these fans because they are the reason we're doing this. Not solely the reason, but if those fans don't think we're worth turning up at a gig for, they're not gonna buy into this, you know. We give them their time. They buy the ticket. They come to us, you know. It takes a lot for a fan to go up to someone they admire and go, I think you're amazing, your music's changed my life, blah blah blah. They deserve the same respect back. It's that simple. So there has been a lot of interaction and we have had really good positive feedback. First show, let's see how it goes for the rest of it. You know, I'm sure that it's just going to get stronger and bigger and better, you know. But, you know, the fans, they're the ones, they give you that oomph, you know. They ignite that flame in you, you know.
Do you still find that the fan interactions are primarily because of your association with Cradle?
Oh, Antoria, actually.
Okay.
A lot of it's Antoria, which I'm quite surprised by. And then obviously I have Torn Between Two Worlds, which in my eyes is an extension of Antoria.
Yep.
That I get a lot from that still, so many years down the line. But it's all quite a lot, you know. I'd say Cradle is probably second to that. But they all come to me for different things. There's always something which is wonderful that I've done that they've been inspired by or that's touched them. So I can't keep up with it, to be honest. I just know that I'm lucky. I'm very, very lucky to be still so many years down the line inspiring people, you know, male and female, you know. It's such a good feeling. It is such a good feeling.
Yeah. Do you still get invitations, independent artists right across the globe? Are they still reaching out to you? Yeah. How many a month?
But I can't do it. I don't know if you know, I'm working with the lead singer of Dark Funeral, Andreas. I'm working with him, and I have been for quite a while on his solo stuff. And, you know, I remember when I think he was the first one. He added me on Instagram, and I was like, wow, why is he adding me? And I thought it was weird. I was like, no, not someone like that, you know, an icon like that, you know, Dark Funeral. Why is he adding me? And I messaged him and we got chatting and he was a fan, you know, not necessarily of me, but he said to me, I've got a lot of albums that you're on. And he was so lovely and so humble. And do you know what? It's actually people also like him that made me realise that a lot of attitudes have changed. There's still a lot of ego on that scene, on all aspects of the metal scene. you know, and I hate that. I really do. But he gave me hope that there was some genuine musicians out there that didn't care how big or small you were, how many albums you sold, that they wanted to get to know you and show their appreciation. And we get on really, really well. And I think he's an amazing guy. And I got to see Dark Funeral for the first time, actually, in, oh my God, probably over 20 years. And I got to see my favourite song, My Dark Desires. I absolutely love that song. And it was so good. But it was good to see the guys, especially Lord Ariman. I've not seen him for a very, very long time. The first time I met him was, I think, around 1995. So it's been a very, very long time since I've had any kind of conversation with him. So yeah, it's been really, really nice. But obviously I'm working with him. And obviously I haven't heard anything with Jamie for the Lord Chaos thing, because obviously Covenant is doing everything right now that's kind of taking priority. But I just don't have time. I can't fit it all in. I have to be dedicated to one thing, but I'm trying to be dedicated to two because I owe Andreas a lot as well, you know. I can't, not with working and school run and school clubs and scooping up piles of sick from the cats, that is. Life is so full right now that I've still got my suitcase on the floor from Eindhoven. I haven't unpacked yet. I just can't get round to doing anything. And it's Christmas in a few days and I'm just, whoa. And then I was on such a major downer after Eindhoven. I was, like, it was like a drug, like a drug. That's how I explain it. And I spoke to a few people about it, from bands that that I was friends with. And it was just the adrenaline. Oh my God. I had such a good time that I was like, hell yeah, bring it on for this. And I never thought bigger and better than any feeling I've had with any band ever. So for a few days I was just on a depression hit, I think, which I don't think people will understand if they're not doing stuff like this. You know, I was finding it very difficult to function. And then I went and turned on a song by Falling in Reverse. And Last Resort, have you heard it? I did put it on my... Have you heard the version?
No, I haven't.
He done?
No. Go for it.
Oh, God, it makes me cry. Oh, I never really cared about that song. But when Falling in Reverse did it, the way that man sings it, the way it's all been pieced together, composed, everything. I was on my way to work and I'm like, I'm crying. I was so down. But it got it out of my system. And as I say, I spoke to Andreas about it from Dark Funeral, and he was saying it. Yeah, it's just that major come down, those tour blues. And I'm like, but it was only one show, but it was the whole weekend, the whole build up to it. So yeah, I don't have time. I'm supposed to be doing a song for Christian, who was in Therion, and he's got, is it Sorcerer?
I have to check it.
I'm supposed to be doing a song for him, and I just haven't got round to laying my vocals down because my brain, there's not enough brain cells to work anything out right now.
There you go. I'm just checking if it's Sorcerer. Let's see here. Yeah, that's right. Sorcerer. Right. Yeah, Christian Neumann. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you it sounds like the biggest challenge for you moving forward isn't going to be about interpersonal relationships, but the very necessary balance that you will need to looking at achieving with regards to your family, which obviously comes first, and all of these wonderful opportunities that you're going to be presented. So can you give us some insight as to how you plan on managing that aspect of things?
Communication. I've got next year virtually covered. when it comes to, you know, dealing with my son, you know. I just have to take it bit by bit, because we thought last year was booked and we were getting what we were going to get, and then something else has now happened.
Yeah.
And then something else has happened, and it's like, well, we're going to be pretty busy for a band that's not been busy for how many decades. You know, we're going to be busy, and it's going to be spaced out. And obviously we've got shows that we haven't announced yet, and then we don't know, we just have to take it day by day. But I do know, and I said to Stian, I'm all in. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like a slut on musical heat right now. I want it so bad. And I never thought I'd say that. Never thought I'd feel that. And again, I've had that conversation with Nagash as well, Stian, and he feels exactly the same as me, although he's not a slut on musical heat. So that's the only way I can describe it. Probably a really bad way to describe it, but you know.
Do you think given all you're back in, okay, it's just about finding balance, but to your point about really enjoying what you're doing now and these respectful relationships that you're surrounded by, you know, the thing about a Covenant is it's one group, and you know things can continue, but a lot of people are in different bands these days. I'm sure you're aware of that. Like look at Jan, look at Hellhammer. Do you think you and Jamie would ever form a band and recruit people around you and make that a thing? Because you've both got a profile big enough to attract the attention of promoters.
Honestly, no. But then if you'd have asked me 1 year ago, did I think Covenant was going to happen? I'd have said no. If you'd have asked me if I would be doing vocals for such an iconic singer like Andreas in Dark Funeral, I'd say no. I have no clue what the future holds. No clue at all. But you have to bear in mind, Jamie's in Australia and I'm in the UK. And when you're parents, it does, you have to put your kids first, you know, and everything else that's going on.
That's reasonably normal, though, to have two people in different continents in the same band these days. Actually, most of the league. Look at you guys
right now.
Yeah, three continents. Yeah, or three. Three.
I would honestly say, if the opportunity came along, which I don't think it would, bear in mind I'm already helping Jamie. If the opportunity came along, for me, Covenant is my priority, closely followed by the project with Andreas. And I'm using his real name because I can't pronounce his stage name, some Swedish thing, and I don't want to make a tit of myself. But closely followed by that, that's a priority. But I was going to say Cradle of Filth, but Covenant is my priority. And it will remain my priority for as long as they allow it to be my priority, and as long as I allow it to be my priority. You know, you have to be all in on this, especially when you've got such a professional crew, especially when you've got Håkan as your booking agent and your TM. You know, I can message that guy anytime. We can message that guy anytime. Never had that before. You know, Håkan is contactable. Well, I wouldn't say 24 hours a day because he would probably go, no. But he is contactable every single day. He is amazing. I never had no contact. You know, unfortunately, we're not putting Dan down. It was all about Dan. There was no equality. There was nothing like that. Management didn't care about people who were session. It was about one person or two people, whoever was contracted. You know, but you make sure that you're on stage on time and you make sure you do your job. You know, different now. It's very different now. So Covenant is my priority. Remaining as professional as I can is my priority, and making this the best it can be. However long it's around for, it's my priority. Although I will make sure I'm fully clothed.
Copy. All right. What about, I know you got some awareness of this. I come from this school, but we, the old school, would love to see you, Barker, Les, and Robin back on stage again. Okay, even if it means that it might, I just can't imagine that Nick would join Dan on stage ever again. But if there was some type of an arrangement where you guys could all be performing the songs or what have you, would you be up for that?
I'd do it. It depends on my mood at the time. I'd do it, but it would only be for one reason, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. It would be money. Be honest. Let's not. There's no friendships. I mean, I spoke to Les quite a few times actually. Just briefly. Many years ago, 5 years ago, probably was the last time I spoke to him. They're all one-liners. Hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. How are you? Blah, blah, blah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no relationship. I haven't seen Nick for a very long time. Let's face it, if we're all on stage together, it is for one reason.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to give fans what they want, but I can guarantee you if that happened, we'd all walk our separate ways very, very quickly. That's just how I feel. That doesn't mean that's how it would be, but I'm damn sure of it. I don't think there'd be any, hi, how are you? Let's go get a coffee.
Okay. I don't think it'll happen for this reason. Cradle, they toured Australia about 6 months ago or something. They sold it out. And I can't believe that. But, that's just me. And there's this whole group of fans that have come along since even you've been in it that seem to don't even care that you, Stuart, Nick, Les, and Robin created the album that we feel of your lives. Back in those days, they're just totally ignorant to that fact. And I know that because I've spoken to a few of them, and they just don't place the emphasis on the 90s like someone like I do. So and a lot of other people, by the way, certainly the fans of the show that I talk to. But it'd just be nice to suspend reality for a moment and just think about that moment. And like I think I explained to you the last chat, just like when the remistressing of Cruelty and the Beast happened and you weren't invited to participate in that, nor was Stuart, nor was Nick, and that was wrong. Because you had integral roles in the success of that album, and the new version sounds like shit. It isn't an improvement in any way. And the only way... it needed your input to improve it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're absolutely right. I heard a few songs and I messaged someone I've got to be careful what I say. I messaged someone about it and I'm like, well, I still sound like I've got my fucking head down the toilet.
Yeah.
Or it's a slightly better toilet, a gold toilet, let's say. And I've still, some vocals have gone up and some are still taken down. And I thought, okay, I'm not very anything to do. But I thought, fuck that, fuck you, and fuck your rules. That's how I felt, I never got rules. But I just to see a lot of the kids like that raw sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they like it, then it's cool. It's cool. But I was disappointed. I was more than disappointed. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? I can't change the past. I was hoping that the past could have been changed and rectified and brought out onto a proper product. where everyone was shining and not just one or two people. However, Nick's drums I thought sounded better. I don't know how Nick feels about that, but his drums were really refreshing to hear. And I'm so glad for Nick that shone through, that he had a decent sound, but I don't know what he thinks about that.
Mm. Well, Dan's recollection is off, or he's either he's not remembering things the way that they happen, because Nick's always maintained that he had no say over the sound of the album, yet Dan has squarely laid the blame for the sound of the album at Nick's feet, saying that he wanted the drums to sound a certain way. And I think we both know that's not the case, but
I can't comment. I can't comment on that. You take Midian, for example, and if although I know Nick wasn't on that, but if you take Vampire, it's fucking amazing. That was Mags from Academy.
Yeah.
With. And then money starts turning up and you start getting these top producers and engineers. These top producers and engineers, they've got a name for themselves already, and there's ego right there. I'm going to do what I want to do, and this is what I think, and all that.
Well, Kit, the best production team I think you guys had was Kit and Mike, by far. Mike Exit.
No, I'd say Mags. Right. Mags. Oh, not Kit Wolven.
Yeah, Kit Wolven and
I thought you were going to mention Kit Wolven. The sound that we had on Midian, whether people agree or not, was the dog's bollocks. That was Colin Richardson, wasn't it?
Yeah. He knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Absolutely spot on. No one was favoured, no one was turned down, and everyone was treated equally. And I don't know what went right with that album, but it worked. But also the production, the rawness that we had on Vampire as well, it still touches me to this day, even though the lineup was cool, it still worked.
But that's you on. Is that you're on Thelly and Vovin, aren't you?
Nope, I'm on Vovin. I sung Thelly live, which was phenomenal. Oh God, so proud of that. But I'm on Vovin.
But the proof in how to get the most out of your voice, in my view, is what Christopher did on Vovin. Because you saw in that one, you go right above everything.
Chris doesn't have that he doesn't have an ego, he's very, very professional, which is very funny because, as I told you, I was the only singer that he'd ever hired that wasn't professional. What I mean is I've never been trained. I was the only one that he had ever hired that was not a trained opera singer or had any kind of training. I don't know why he picked me. Must have been my great smile.
Your charm.
And my hairy back. I don't know. But we didn't see eye to eye in the beginning either. I mean, I was a kid. I wanted to get drunk and smoke, like other people did. I wanted to have a laugh. But he gave me chances, and it went wrong at one point, and then he gave me another chance, and I got so many comments and compliments of how I had grown and whatnot. And my time in Virion is to be treasured. Chris did not have an ego. Everything was for the end product and for it to be completely and utterly professional, because he knew that if he didn't treat his band, his session people, with respect, they wouldn't work for him. Chris was, me and Chris come to a few small blows. We never ever had an argument or anything like that, but we had crossed words occasionally. But that's what you're going to do in a band. It happens. But utmost respect for Chris and what he's created with all the people that's helped him create it. Never did I sit next to him and think he was ever going to touch me or say anything that was rude and nasty to me. He's a great guy. I haven't seen him in years, but he's a great guy, and I can't wait to see him and give him a good old smack around the face. Oh, followed by a kiss, you know. But, yeah.
Hey, what did you think of Martina bringing your performance to life on the tour afterwards?
Well, me and Martina are still friends. You know, we still speak, and she's a lovely girl. And I was obviously a little bit gutted that I wasn't there for a small part of it. But a few things happened then, and kind of roles turned around, and then suddenly she was gone and I was back in. We've got a good friendship, a good relationship. We don't see each other. We do speak occasionally, but she's one of those people that I know if I picked up the phone, we could just talk for hours. Mm-hmm. And I will see her at some point. She's a stunning person. She's got a very, very good heart, and I love her dearly. You know, I mean, I'm in contact with a few people still in Therion, you know, like Kim, the bass player, the blonde hair guy. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got no hair now. He's got skinhead, but, you know, and Christian and Johan and Suvi, beautiful girl, my sweetheart, lovely girl. And obviously, sadly, Johanna's not with us anymore. The last time I saw Johanna was when she was at my wedding, and she wasn't in a good way then. But,
yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Hey, look, in the same way that I asked you about Jamie, who would you, out of all of your past projects, the many projects that you've been a part of and bands, who would you actively seek out to work with again in a perfect scenario? I'm saying of all the planets aligned, who would you choose?
How can you ask me that? Right, this is probably going to be one of the biggest bands in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I can, on the spot, tell you. Right, so one of my best friends, Danabella, he's in that band that I can't pronounce, Anal Nakarath.
Yep.
Oh, gosh, something like that. Do you know what? I did come up with my own name for them. They did find it funny, but it's best that I don't say it. But he's one of my best friends, you know. I've worked with him since A Sign of Sublime, and then we co-wrote The Corruption of Mercy and Malediction, and he done a lot obviously, but I hummed some riffs and hoped that he understood. And what a team, me and Dan. I love that man to bits, and yeah, so he'd be one. I would love. Funny enough, I never thought I'd say this, Stian Nagash, because the way we bounce off each other and the vibe in the room and the laughing. Jan, do you know, it's funny because I would pick a lot of Covenant, probably most of Covenant, but we already know that this is likely to happen anyway. So it's really difficult. I can't answer, to be fair. I'm surrounded by a lot of talented people. Charles Hedger, Ghoul. Yeah. I love that man. As you know, he helped on recreating the second version of the song A Sign of Sublime. And I miss that man so much. When I say man, I use that term loosely, but I miss that man so much. He's awesome. And as I said on my last interview, our relationship really, really suffered because of certain things, and we haven't seen each other for a long time, but we've spoken, and I would love to work with him, you know, again in a band. It's a difficult one. It's a really, really difficult one. I'd have to really, really sit and think, you know. So yeah.
Do you get much really time? Yeah. But I get it. You're a busy parent and working and in these great bands again now. But do you get much time to really absorb much new music?
No, not really. The odd thing here and there, and any elitists listening, the newest album that I'm absolutely addicted to, in fact, my home is addicted to, I'm surprised the cats aren't into it, is the new Falling in Reverse album.
Mm-hmm.
It's so refreshing, and it's played in the car probably at least 4 times a day right now, and it has been for the last few months. But no, I don't. I am listening. I am slowly getting there, you know. But there's just not enough time. There really, really isn't. I don't get all these people that are sticking out all these new bands all the time. I just don't have time for it.
Mm.
But obviously, we're going to be doing 70,000 tons of metal next month. So there's going to be some bands I will certainly be checking out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of my favourites is there.
Yeah, yeah. Who's that? Apart from Covenant, who's your favourite?
Emperor.
Of course.
Come on. I thought you knew that. I make it so known. One of the most influential bands of my career, that In the Nightside Eclipse, influenced me so much as a kid. When I say a kid, you know, like 16, 17 or whatever.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Yeah.
It influenced me. Every aspect of that album influenced how I sung. And although there's no female vocals on the album, of course, it's the whole atmosphere and how it made you feel. And it ignites this kind of creativity in you. So when I was doing, for example, Vampire, not only did I have this Dracula, Diamanda Gallus voice here, I also had on the other side, In the Nightside Eclipse, and it sculpted the way I sung. Let's hope that people don't go, oh, well, you sung really shit. But that album it's my life's soundtrack, as it were.
Mm.
And I can't wait. I just have to make sure that I don't have a drink and throw my knickers at them on the stage. That wouldn't be very, very professional, but I wouldn't do that. I've played out with Nocturnal Breed and Balsagoth, and our shows, we did a show together in France. So their tour and our tour played the same day. I can't remember where it was, maybe Toulouse or something like that. And I'd met a few of the guys before, but I'd never met Ishan. And I remember I was walking one way and he was walking towards me, and he probably didn't even know who I was. And I saw him, and I swear I shit myself. I got so nervous and so afraid that I looked up and I kind of smiled a little bit, and he smiled back, and I walked away, and I thought, my God, it's almost like walking into New Kids on the Block, and I'm like 14 years old, and oh my God, what am I going to do? And I just got so starstruck.
Yeah.
And obviously I was a lot younger then, but I'm still nervous now because the band, as I say, major influence on me. And saying that, if I was to ever say that to them, would probably come across really stupid, mature and gay. But I have that said to me all the time, so I kind of guess that they would probably understand how influential they are, you know. And yeah, so yeah, I can't wait to see that. And seeing Arcturus as well would be absolutely amazing. And there's a few people that I'm in contact with on the boat already, like the vegan black metal chef. I can't wait to see him. He's really cool. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And then I have a bet with someone. I won't say who it is, but two of us are on a little journey of, you know, sort of losing a bit more of weight. And I've done a bet with that person that whoever loses the least has to buy the winner the drinks at the end of the second show on the boat.
Okay.
And I'm going to win. I am going to win. I am going to thrash that person. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, just make sure that on 70,000 tons, I was on it last year or this year, so the last one.
So mature.
I spoke to Lena and Chris Boltondall the other night from Gravedigger, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. This is all stuff that they've said, so I'm just parroting it back effectively. But just to make sure that you get your sound check and all of that sort of stuff in, because I know Lena wasn't given one, from Infected Rain.
Oh yeah, I don't know her. I know she's absolutely beautiful, but no, I don't know her. I've seen, she's absolutely stunning. But I didn't even know we were going to get a sound check, and whatever will be, But
yeah, you'll enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer.
There's loads of bands out there that are smaller that don't get sound. Oh no, whatever will be, will be. However it works out. We obviously, I hope that we get some kind of sound check, but it just sounds like it's going to be a 4-day party. But I have to be realistic about everything, and also, as I say, once we finished the last show, I will be heading to the bar and I will be getting shit-faced. And whilst I know alcohol doesn't appeal to everyone, I have not really drunk in 10 years because I'm mum and I have to be responsible. It's different for women. But I've got a lot of drinking to catch up on, and I intend on doing it. But when I say a lot of drink, I can guarantee I'll probably have 2 whiskeys and likely fall over bald. So, I haven't got the tolerance for alcohol anymore, but I do want to have a drink because it'd be nice to just let my hair down, But I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. I hope.
The fact that you
interact. Going to see some old friends as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, the fans are great, by the way. I met a bunch of people on there, and I didn't meet one dickhead, actually, I've got to say. And I don't drink, so I was sober the entire thing, and I was working in inverted commas with all the interviews that I was doing. But yeah,
working, yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible to be separate. You'll sit down at the table, and I mean, you will be so identifiable to people. I think you'll be fighting people off and be going to your room for your nana naps or whatever.
I hope not. I really hope not. I as much as I love the interaction, I feel really self-conscious being recognised. When I was in Eindhoven, I don't know, the guy might end up seeing this interview. I was in Eindhoven and I was in the queue. Oh, no, I wasn't in Eindhoven. I was in Amsterdam at that time. That was it, Amsterdam Airport. I've got to remember where I was. I was in Amsterdam Airport and I was in security to have my passport checked. I saw some guy looking at me and he gave me that look. And I know that look. Yeah. I know who you are. You're Sarah. Anyway, I turned away really, really quickly. And I thought, oh, my God, please don't say anything to me. And then our lines crossed, and he went, excuse me, are you Sarah? And I went, yes. And he went, can I have a photo with you? And, and I'm like, oh. Going to hyperventilate my age. And can we do this afterwards once I get out of passport control? And it's very embarrassing for me. Obviously, he didn't mean that. And I waited for him and we had a little chat and did a photo. It scares me because, as I said, and I always maintain, I just want to sing. I just want to sing. I don't really want the fame that comes with it. I just want to entertain and do my best and make people happy. And if I can make people realise their worth as well, if I can get here, you can type thing.
Yeah.
But I don't like the fame that comes with it. I don't like people looking at me. I had a photographer, bless him, in Eindhoven blowing kisses to me. I thought, that's really, really nice of you. Hopefully you're blowing that towards Jamie or Hellhammer or something. But no, he was blowing kisses at me and he was the photographer. And I thought, clearly you like me. That's very, very nice. I'm overwhelmed now. I think I might go get a cup of tea. I just find it weird, I'm just me.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, the reality is, like I explained to your last chat, if you talk to the old school, the Gen 2 black metal fans like me, and you say, who's Sarah, there's only going to be one answer. So to a whole
Sarah
cohort,
Brightman.
maybe her, but reality is, in terms of extreme metal, there's only one Sarah. I'm talking to her. So, I mean, that's just something that I think you'll learn along the way, particularly with something like with such close quarters of 70,000 tons.
Whole generation that haven't got a clue who I am, and that's fantastic as well. That's maybe I can light their room up.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, they'll get into you. They'll be wondering, who's this great new band that's on stage? Who is this? When you guys all hear this.
Yeah.
It's so strange that happens, but I guess we're all old enough for that to occur now, aren't we? Yeah.
Yep, we are.
So here's the almost grand finale question for you. How do you hope your legacy will be perceived? Because you do have a legacy. And how do you want your impact, the one that you've left on extreme metal, because you have left one, as I say, that's not hubris, that's a fact. How do you want that to be perceived?
Do you know what I want? I just want people to be entertained and know that what I've tried to do, I say this before, it comes through in my lyrics, I come from nothing. Okay? I come from a whole heap of shit, a whole heap of everything. And for the mature ones, I want them to know it doesn't matter who you are, where you've come from. If you want something bad enough, you will work for it. And I've had obstacles in every aspect. And a lot of that is due to ill treatment, and that's fine. But, you know, I want people to know that you can be anything that you want to be, and you can change your path. You can change your life and you can change other people's lives. So whatever legacy I've got, whether it's being a singer or whatever, I want people to know that we're all the same. You know, we're just trying to get by in life and make the best out of our life. I want people to know that, again, you can be anything that you want to be. How I raise my son is I say, you don't hurt anything or anyone. And as you know, I'm very into my animal rights. You do not hurt anything or anyone. And you give respect when respect is given to you. But there's no harm in giving respect first. But don't let people treat you like shit. You give that respect and then it gets crapped on. Attempt again, see how that goes. But don't let it get to the 10th, 12th, 50th time, that 50th round of respect. You know, because that's what I did. I let people do it again and again and again and again. And I don't want people to do that. Especially, you know, sorry, I've got to say, women, you know, you stand your ground and you be that voice in the room. And the ones that give a shit will be listening. So you say about legacy, you know, I suppose I have to admit, yes, I have left a legacy and I'm very, very lucky, but I'm still just a backing singer. I'm not a front woman. I am just a backing singer. So maybe that's my legacy. You know, when I started, there was hardly any women on this scene at all. Hardly, and there definitely wasn't backing singers.
Yeah.
You know?
There we go. I know, just bumped you out, did it? Silly thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just continue and obviously end it. We're in a position where when you're in the public eye, you can change things. You can be there for people and you can help people. It depends how much you want to give. And I've always been one of those people that tries to reply to those messages and tries to acknowledge the things that people say to me, good or negative, you know. We're in the public eye and we have the ability to make some good. Put the ego to one side and do something good. And I've had so many people come to me saying, you've made me cry, you've touched me, I can talk, I can finally be me, I've healed, blah, blah. It's all through your lyrics and this and that. As I say, we're doing, I don't know how to word it. We are doing the public a service, and it has to be a responsible service that's not laced in ego and bullshit. I hate rock stars. I've come across so many people who I've admired that have turned out to be king dick, excuse my language, and I hate it. I'll never be like that. And I've made sure that I've never been like that. That I have some boundaries, don't touch me. You know, other than that, you know, if I can help people, and that's how I feel about that word legacy. You know, it's not about how happy if someone said my life to make them happy. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's how I feel anyway.
Yeah, it does. I just, you know, I was talking to my wife earlier about how challenges and not even so much challenges, something beyond challenges, but things that really seek to suppress us. How at a certain point you either make a decision to draw upon inner strength and therefore build resilience and emotional strength in that way, or you can let it get you down. And my perception of your journey is that all of the challenges that you faced in Cradle of Filth, they are shaping and they continue to shape your career decisions, particularly around where you invest your time. Now, Parenthood does that too, but just from the bands that you're choosing and where you're choosing to direct your energy, a lot of that is determined by the experiences that you had in Cradle of Filth. So it just feels like you're at the precipice of a new dawn, like a bit of a second coming, that's all. And I think you're going to be, my opinion is you're going to be served very well by your experiences. And I know they were very challenging and I know they were difficult in Cradle of Filth, but they're going to serve you very well in this next phase of your life. And you've got your health and you've got your voice. That's the most important thing, the two most important things when you're performing music. And so therefore you can take advantage of all of these things. And we as fans can look forward to many more years of your recorded output and you being on stage.
I was speaking to Nagash and I was saying, I didn't realize this, but I really was dead inside until this all happened, but I didn't realize it. And then music really, really is in the blood. It really is in the blood. So I have to say thank you to them as well. You know, I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. And I'm very happy at the response and people like you. You know, I don't know if people tell you enough, but you give me the time of day, and that means so much to me. I'm so grateful to you and to so many other people, you know. So I hope we meet one day.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for our friendship too. You know, I mean, I'm grateful that you trust me with this stuff. It's important to me. But I mean, like I've shared with you many times, like the amount of questions I got up until you appeared on the show, the amount of questions and requests that I got for you. It's you see, people don't know. They think I can just snap my fingers and have somebody on the show by sending an invite. The right time has to become available, as you know. You have to, especially with artists like you who've been around and have done something impactful. It's not just a case of coming.
Well, remember, I took ages, didn't I, to say that.
Yeah, but I understood that, and I think the fans
like
understood
I
that too. You know?
Not easy at all. Much to sit down and have a heart-to-heart with somebody face-to-face. I met someone recently, actually, at Eindhoven Metal Meeting that I'd never met before, and we clicked. It felt like we clicked. And I could tell that person things that nobody ever knew, just tiny personal things. And I thought, oh, this is scary, because I've just met somebody that I've told them where I work, for example.
Yeah.
my last name, and I'm like, oh, that's a big fucking chance. I can sit here and I can tell you my life story because I know that I'm not face to face. It's totally different, but very selective. I try not to take anything for granted, because when you do get comfortable, it all comes crashing down. Also, I'm at the mindset of it's here for as long as it's here, you know, and let's fucking enjoy the ride. Let's enjoy it because it is one awesome ride. Non-sexual, let me just point out. It's a good ride. I love it. And I'm so happy and I'm so content. I never thought I'd say that, ever.
Well, you deserve it. Okay. That's fantastic, by the way.
My cat just did a poo, by the way. No, I don't deserve a poo, no. Oh. The crossover. The crossover. I just said my cat did a poo and you went, well, you deserve it. I'm like, well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for listening to me again.
No, it's awesome. Anytime. Okay. I'm really grateful for this. I'm thankful for it. So God bless and love to your family over Christmas too. Okay. And we'll chat on the other side.
And same to you, my darling. Same to you. Thank you so much.
No worries. My pleasure. No worries at all.
Bye.
Okay. Catch ya.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Isn't she delightful? Sarah Jezebel Deva. Thank you very much, Sarah, for another wonderful conversation. It's always great to spend time with you and to talk about all of these topics that I know that the listener finds so relevant and engaging. It's been a heck of a year for the show. I'll just do a bit of a run through in case you're unfamiliar, but I've already mentioned that I had 2 conversations with Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, but the year started off with a conversation with Matt Pike from High on Fire, and also Sleep as well. So Matt's a tremendous fella. On the Cradle of Filth front, there were a few chats. Mark Bouchette, who was an early Cradle of Filth photographer, so around about the same time Chris Bell was doing things with them, but he was doing more band and stock photos. Elsewhere, Vinny Dombrowski from Sponge, Cremator from Ghoul, Glenn Benton finally caught up with the evil one himself, Glenn Benton from Deicide. One of my favourite conversations that I've done for the show so far, any conversation that is, was Steve Von Till from Neurosis and Harvestman. Do check out that one there. Mike 9 Williams from I Hate God's a good one. Same with the chat with Sammy Duet from Acid Bath. Another big one was Tom G. Warrior from Celtic Frost. Doesn't get any bigger in underground circles than Tom G. Warrior, and what a tremendous fella he is. Just a great bloody bloke. Matt Wilcock, I had another conversation with my mate from Melbourne who's in Werewolves, and he was in Acre Cocker, and Shotgun Mistress is another one of his bands. My good mate in Minnesota, Lenny DeMancari from Arising Force. Patrick Mamelli from Pestilence. Necro Butcher from Mayhem was a big one. It caused a stir online, that's for sure. Oliver Amberg, the guitarist on Cold Lake, Celtic Frost Cold Lake. And another big one recently, Michael Kiskay from Halloween. So many chats waiting for you over at scarsandguitars.com if you're interested. All right, that's it from me. My name's Andrew Mackay Smith, and I'm the host of the show Scars and Guitars. Until next time, it's a goodbye for now.